The James Show Podcast.
And it's a happy Friday show. Coming up in about a half hour, we're playing Name That Artist, the fall edition, which is super cool. All of the songs are either going to have the word fall in them or be somehow like fall themed. So stick around for that. I got to give away a good prize to go with it, and maybe you can win. So stick around for that. We're playing for dinner and a movie. Yeah. Dinner and a movie at Look Dine-In Cinemas. So let's see. How can someone possibly make fun of Trump in this little era where he may be bringing, cautiously optimistic, peace to the Middle East, peace to the Israeli and Palestinian situation? I mean, that would be a jaw-dropping, historic, you would think a shoe-in for the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, Nobel, the Peace Prize, they just announced, I believe it was yesterday, their nominee for who they're going to give the trophy to in January. And it turns out it's not Donald Trump. It's some lady down in Venezuela who is currently trying to get the U.S. to intervene and knock off their socialist government and restore some semblance of dignity to a once proud and prosperous people of Venezuela. And I don't think anybody, even on Team Trump, expected the fact that a deal that got announced yesterday would already, within 24 hours, be rolled into a Nobel Peace Prize. And I don't blame the Nobel Peace Prize voters for not handing him the trophy already. We don't even know if we're getting the hostages back. We should at least wait till Tuesday before we even start to call this a peace deal that's working. But people, they're just so wrapped up in their hatred for Trump. It doesn't cease to amaze me anymore, but that's because I do what I do. And there's a handful of people out there that send me emails or Facebook messages, and every single one of them, they're griping about Trump. It's like, do you have any original thoughts outside of your head other than Trump bad? Of all the things that I talk about on this show, you don't have a response on any of the other issues, you know, the Indians in Frisco or what we should do with health care, just anything that's not Trump related, the stabbings, the shootings that are happening around here, the protests, the new restaurants are opening up, Chica's Bonita's getting raided. No, nothing. It's all 100%. Yes, some people are just absolutely broken. So listen to this ghoul who just this morning puts out a video. She is so happy that Trump didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. She's finding an inordinate amount of joy in it. And she sounds like the Wicked Witch of the East or the West or the woke or something. Check this out.
Good morning, Donald. Thought I would check in again. Since you didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. I tried to tell you, Donald. The world is not a fan. Norway is not a fan. This made my weekend. What a way to start out a Friday. The White House is upset. Did they really think you were gonna win? And you lost to a Latino woman. That makes it even better.
What is the deal there? Man, this made her weekend? How does this make your weekend? None of your bills got paid. You still owe the same amount on all your credit cards. You still drive the same car. You still live in the same apartment. You still have the exact same life. This doesn't affect you any. He didn't get the Peace Prize. What? Within 4 hours of announcing the Israeli peace deal? And you really love the fact that it was a Latina woman that got it? That's what you saw? Hey, look. The defining characteristic of the person winning the Nobel Peace Prize is her gender and race? I didn't think that when it was announced. It's like, oh, it was a Latina woman. I was like, hey, it's a Venezuelan lady who's advocating for... And the lady was just kind of a happenstance. I wasn't happy. I didn't care if it was a man or a woman. Like, who cares? Okay. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'm glad you got some kind of joy out of that. But those laughs didn't even sound real. Again, like who are the people that are just turning the camera on themselves and thinking this is what the world needs to see? I'm not going to bother wearing anything nicer than a dirty T-shirt. I'm not going to do my hair. I'm going to have on big, dumb, ugly reading glasses, not one molecule of makeup. And then I'm going to do this fake cackle because Trump didn't win a Nobel Peace Prize. Okay. Whatever makes you happy. You really think that we're worried about that? You really think MAGA is upset he didn't win the Peace Prize? You realize how little most people think about the Peace Prize after Obama got it for being in office for 12 seconds and not doing anything? Man, these people are just broken. They've had their hatred just whittled down and sharpened to a razor's edge so much that they're broken. But at least this one's sort of a benevolent form of psychosis where hey, at least she's in a good mood. At least she's not shooting at us like other ones. Coming up, more fun audio. Katie Porter, who was the front runner for governor of California to replace Gavin Newsom. People keep finding old audio clips of her and putting it out there, and turns out she's not such a nice lady, but I don't think that should qualify her from being governor. I played some of this earlier this week. I played the "Get Out of My Effing Shot." Don't worry, it's bleep, so you don't have to dump it. But this is her. She's doing some webinar, and they're recording the video, and she's saying something wrong. And then one of her staffers comes into the frame in the background to try and correct her. And you hear the first beep is she says the staffer's name. And so that got bleeped out. So, the staffer wouldn't catch heck for it. And then "Get out of my effing shot." So you might have heard this one already.
Total savings for our economy. So I'm on the oversight committee, you might know. And that is where we did a study recently this fall in September. And what it showed is if we don't electrify our transportation sector, that we're going to lose more than 500,000 Californians dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems. And the state could lose. Get out of my shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay. It does. Okay. You also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start again with electric vehicles saving us money.
The other one I played yesterday is her leaving in the middle of an interview, and it wasn't even that bad of an interview. It's like, what do you say to the 40% of Californians who voted for Trump? She's like, nothing. I don't need them to win an election. Here's the other one, though, that was making the rounds yesterday. I had not heard this one until yesterday, but this was her talking about, right after the election, the reaction of her 12-year-old daughter on Election Day.
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion? This is from a 12-year-old, my 12-year-old daughter. And so it was really a reminder of how scary this time is for people, and how important it is for Democrats to have strategies, both at the state level and the federal level, to make sure that we can continue to protect people's rights.
Okay, I'll take things that didn't happen for 200, Alex. Is that even a believable story? Your 12-year-old daughter on Election Day. So she's been in water polo practice for the last hour or 2 hours. What did they have a TV on in the aquatic center showing you the election results? This is what's on her mind, not what's coming up in the football game this weekend, or not who's dating who or who broke up with who or what are we having for dinner. She's crying because she might get raped and not be able to have an abortion. At 12 years old? Look, me and Miss Parker have 4 kids, and they're now 10, 12, 13, 15. They're not talking about this. My daughters are not worried about being raped and not being able to have an abortion. And it hasn't even come up in any of our discussions or mine. If this girl really is thinking that, and again, overall, I don't think this story happened. I think this is a made-up story. However, look at the circumstances around the story she fantasizes about. How would a 12-year-old be thinking this? Would you think a 12-year-old sitting around watching C-SPAN all day, or just flipping through the news and checking out MSNBC, or she follows a bunch of political channels on her Twitter or Snapchat or TikTok or whatever? if she is concerned about being raped and being impregnated and not being able to have an abortion, some adult is putting that in her head. Can y'all stop scaring children and convincing them that Trump is some evil monster, some Emperor Palpatine that's going to ruin their lives and control their wombs and make them dress up like ketchup bottles in The Handmaid's Tale? Stop scaring the crap out of kids. No wonder they have anxiety problems and depression issues, and they need to take antidepressants, and they're not comfortable in their own body, and they're questioning all kinds of things and having issues that you and I didn't have to deal with. Because we didn't have adults pumping weird stuff into our head like, hey, you might get raped and not be able to get an abortion if the wrong guy gets elected. So much so that they're crying. If that's true, that's pretty close to child abuse, wouldn't you think? Bug Tussle actually has its homecoming this weekend. So, Rusk, we're coming for you. Or actually, it's a home game. You're coming to our stadium. Please don't beat us. We're not very good. We've had a hard time. Wins are hard to come by. We never make the playoffs. I don't know. I'm not asking you to go out and just like take a knee or like throw the game or, like, oops, I fumbled it over and over and over. I mean, I don't want charity here. But, if your starters have like a tweaked ankle or a little bit sore, maybe just give them a little bit of rest. Maybe just give us a little bit of a break here. We are looking for our third win of the season, and that would be the most that I've seen since my kids have been at Bug Tussle High School. So good luck out there to all the other Bug Tussles who have their games tonight, and especially the homecoming. I hope you all win your homecomings. I hope your moms are absolutely huge. A couple of pieces of feedback, though, that I want to squeeze in here. Some guy, James, not me, another James, he responded to the clip I played a couple segments ago where there's this woman that was giddy that Trump didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, someone else emailed in and they were like, hey, in order for Trump to even be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, he would have had to have been nominated back last January for the decision to be made now. And that doesn't sound right, because how did Obama win it 12 days into his first term if he had to be nominated a whole year in advance? See what I'm saying? Doesn't that sound... I feel like I'm missing part of the story here. Because were they going to nominate him? They didn't even know if he was going to win. They nominated a senator who was running for president. Yeah, so I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. But if you didn't hear it earlier, I'm going to play you. This is a lady. And the one thing I enjoy is these people who are so just ate up with their hatred for Trump. How are they able to twist anything into something negative about Trump? And so I thought it's amazing. How can someone see the prospect, at least the possibility, of peace in the Middle East, peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and somehow turn this into a thing against Trump? And I'll be damned if they can't do it about everything.
Good morning, Donald. Thought I would check in again. Since you didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. I tried to tell you, Donald. The world is not a fan. Norway is not a fan. This made my weekend. What a way to start out a Friday. The White House is upset. Did they really think you were gonna win? And you lost to a Latino woman? That makes it even better.
You gonna be all right? So James's comment on it was, that woman had to be demon possessed. The cackling did sound like the Wicked Witch of the East or West or whichever one it was. My pretty, and you hear that with a lot of like Disney witches and evil people, and the old lady that was trying to chuck Hansel and Gretel into the furnace or whatever. Yeah, that did sound kind of demonic, but it really sounded kind of fake, because what she was saying, there was no punchlines in there. He didn't win the Peace Prize. Why is that funny? Oh, like one person a year wins the Peace Prize. So you have like a 1 in 8 billion chance of winning the Peace Prize, and you didn't get it, and you think that's some big ownage? Is that what you think? The world is not a fan. So what if the world's not a fan? Whatever. Have you ever gone to a football game, an NFL game outside of Dallas? The couple of stadiums that I've been to outside of Dallas, I went to a few New Orleans games. I went to one in Tampa Bay a couple of years ago when they were playing against Dallas. And one thing I noticed is like the first time I went to a game in the Superdome in New Orleans is the Cowboys weren't even playing. The Saints were playing someone else, and they were doing the scores, and they like announced them like when the TV's at commercial. The guy comes on the PA and he's like, the Giants are beating the Eagles in the second quarter, 21-10. The Panthers are beating the Bills in the second quarter, 14-10. You know, they just go through the list, and then when it got to the Cowboys are beating Green Bay 28-3. The whole place erupted in boos. Like the whole place, and it was like really loud. And I had no idea. I had no idea how much the outside NFL world hated the Cowboys. And you know what that was to me? That was a badge of honor. Oh, really? You hate us? You hate us so much that when they announce our score and we're winning, you get a bunch of boos? Well, we're living rent-free in your head. You must think about us a lot. Because I know when I was growing up here in Texas, in East Texas, you know, and I'd go to Cowboy games at Texas Stadium or Jerry's World or whatever. When the Saints score was read aloud in the TV timeouts, no one cheered or booed. And it's the old Don Draper meme from Mad Men where the kid in the elevator's like, you know, I feel sorry for you. And Don Draper's like, I don't think about you at all. So, yeah, the whole world's not a fan. What do we care what Norway thinks? Hey, Norway's not a fan. So what? Whoop-de-doo. Do you think I care? I'm an American. Even better than that, I'm a Texan. Like, can you believe what the rest of the world thinks? Don't care what the rest of the world thinks. How many people have they sent to the moon? Oh, yeah, that's right, 0. So, I mean, this woman finds so much enjoyment out of the weirdest stuff. And it was the cackling. It was a Latino woman. Boy, y'all are just really ate up with it, aren't you? The other one was Mike had a response to the Katie Porter audio because more and more clips keep coming out where she's rude to like someone interviewing to her or to one of her staff members. And then she made up that story about her daughter on election night being scared because if she gets raped and pregnant, she might not be able to get an abortion. And I was thinking, who says this to their 12-year-old daughter? Is there any way this could be a real story? Well, Mike says, I know this CNX Tuesday Porter, and she drills this S into her daughter's head. She is an absolute POS. Now, Mike, do you know her personally, or have you just seen her on the news more than I have, and you're familiar with her terrible politics and personality? Because this reeks of like narcissism here. This reeks of like if you go through the textbook definition of people and their personality maladies. That here's the scary part about this. This Katie Porter that thinks she's above everyone, her staff members, interviewers, she'll lie about her own daughter in front of God and everybody. That's a narcissist. These are the type of people that are drawn to politics. This is one of the shortcomings of the democratic system, is the type of people that are drawn to these and want to run for office and feel the motivation so strongly that they'll jettison their family, their career, their whole life, their reputation. They'll lie to everyone's face on the planet just to get a hold of power. These are the last people that need to be in positions of power. All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. You go have a good week, and I'll meet you back here on Monday. In the meantime, if you need more James Show action, go check out the podcast. And we have a lot of good new videos on the WBAP Facebook, WBAP Twitter, WBAP YouTube. We've got the new Eric Trump interview. We've got the interview with Chloe Cole, the detransitioner. I'll be putting up Joe Exotic over the weekend, so go check that out when you get a chance. I'm James Parker. This has been the James Show on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.